May we speak to the governor's executive assistant?
You would have to put that request in writing and then send it in to the
So who from the governor's office can meet with us?
Every request has to be written.
Well, we have a letter to deliver to the governor, so can you call his office?
We
We've
can
come
leave the
all the way
letter
from
here.
Orange County. We've come from 3 hours away. So if you could call his office and find out if somebody can come and meet with us.
Just
that'd
to
be great.
deliver the letter.
You can deliver the letter here and then it can get to his office, but the procedure is to...
I've been here many times and I know the procedure is, and I would really appreciate it if you call his office. Thank you. You tell him there's a large group of people here from Orange County who would like to speak with his executive assistant to explain what this letter represents.
There's no one answering the phones over there, so what I can do is if you want to leave the letters here, and if you want to wait a little while, I can see if I can get a hold of someone, but the procedure is that...
Well, we're
everything
going
has
to wait because
Okay.
we need to
You can have a
make sure-
seat,
yes.
and then if you want to leave the letters here, I'll wait to see if I can get a hold of someone and see what we can do, okay?
But we definitely need to speak to
This,
somebody from the government.
this represents 6 months of work and 250 businesses signed on for us to deliver this. So I'm sorry we didn't do
Okay.
your protocol, but we'd really like to have some sort of a press thing that this has been handed to somebody besides you.
We
at
need
the
somebody
desk.
from his office.
Please.
Okay, thank you guys want to have a seat?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Let's take a look.
What's up there? What do you see?
I feel like I'm at the Uffizi.
Thanks for your patience. I appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you. And your name is again?
Emma.
Emma. And you're with the governor?
Yes.
Okay, this letter, my name's Tom, and I'm from Orange County. I live near a power plant that's being built called the CPV power plant. Are you familiar with it? Mm-hmm. So apparently Prococo and some other people from the governor's office are indicted for bribery and corruption. So we've had many letters sent to the governor and never heard a thing. He said that he doesn't want to comment. And this letter here represents Food and Water Watch helped Sustainable Warwick and myself and a few other people go out and find businesses. Everything from breweries to pizza places to wineries to bike shops to donut establishments, et cetera, farms that want him to halt construction on this power plant. He's the only one, as far as we know, him and the DEC could deny the 401 Water Quality Act for the pipeline, the permit. And also the IDA pilot agreement, which has been given, should be canceled or rescinded. And it's at a crucial point. I don't know if you've been down to see it, but it's half the size of MetLife Stadium. And it's going to burn fracked gas out of Pennsylvania, which the governor had already done a giant, huge step forward for the state, saying that fracking was poisonous. But then we're confused why he would allow a power plant of this magnitude to be built, as well as the Cricket Valley power plant, which is just, I believe they're having a golden shovel ceremony this morning about breaking ground for Cricket Valley. So I have friends in Pennsylvania that are impacted by the fracking. I don't know if you've ever been out there, Susquehanna County. I'd be happy to tour the governor, take him out, introduce him to Vera Scroggins, Ray Kem, the people who are living in poisoned gas fields in Pennsylvania. And we're confused why the governor won't stand up and be a climate leader. He could have us on 100% renewable within 5 or 10 years if he really pushed. What seems to be happening is we keep hearing from like Sean Patrick Maloney that it's a bridge fuel and there's lots of jobs and we can't go immediately to renewable, and we don't believe that. And the governor, if he's never driven a Tesla, that's the most amazing experience you could ever find, and there's no gas in that car, and that's a good example of how amazing the state could be if he actually took on Trump and Tillerson and Pruitt. Pruitt comes from a state where they're having earthquakes because of fracking, and he's destroying the EPA as we speak. And we are just very concerned citizens in that the gas build out in this state is going at an alarming rate if he wants to go to renewable. So this, as you see, 250 businesses and people from our area have signed to the governor asking him to stop construction. Any questions?
That was an incredible presentation. That was amazing.
What's your name?
Emma.
Hi, Emma. I'm Pramila.
Nice to meet you.
Hi. So we just had a press conference a little while ago, and it's actually available. You can see it on our Facebook page, on protectorangecounty.org. And in that press conference, we had two world-famous climate scientists testifying about the climate impact of this power plant that was never, ever reviewed by anybody. And it will increase New York State's greenhouse gas emissions from the power sector by in excess of 10%. And that's at a very conservative assessment of methane leakage. And the governor said that he wants to cut greenhouse gas emissions. So we can't increase greenhouse gas emissions by 10% and ever expect that we're going to meet our climate goals. And he can be a climate leader. He can shut this down. And because of the corruption, because of the overwhelming evidence of that the approval process was corrupted, because of misleading information in the permit applications, and actually Anthony Ingraffea, who's an engineer from Cornell, he spoke about some of that misleading information in their air permit application. The governor has every authority and right to rescind the permits, halt construction, and just reject the project just like that, because it is not consistent with his own climate goals and his own energy policy. So he can be a climate leader and prevent us from being dependent on fracked gas. The other thing that the scientists spoke about today was that this would require 100 to 150 fracking wells per year and thousands over its lifetime. So the governor, in his State of the State address, he said that we need to, control fracking and the use of fracked gas from our neighboring states like Pennsylvania. But this is going to increase it, and it's going to be a catastrophic increase. And so the only way the governor can be a climate leader is by shutting this project down. And he would not only clean up the air of New York State and guarantee our children a livable future, he would also clean up corruption by doing that. So,
Can I ask, do you have any statement from the governor about the power plant?
I do not have one right now, no, but if you give me your paper and is there contact information on it,
Yes.
I can make sure that somebody gets in contact with you to keep the conversation going.
Okay, I will follow it up with a contact phone call and email.
Perfect. That's the best way to do it, yeah.
Yes, we would really like to hear his statement on this. I know that when his father shut down the Shoreham nuke plant, it was fully constructed. And that was in Long Island back in, I think, 1984. He shut down the plant and it never turned into a working facility. They're temporary jobs. There's only 25 people that will actually work to run this plant, which could explode at any time or leak into our aquifer. So there are a lot of catastrophes that could happen immediately, and or we could have New York City flooded because of this climate change. So we are hoping to save the planet and New York with the governor.
the other thing is that we also gave the governor a letter last year as well, and we never received a response.
Okay.
And we also sent follow-up emails, so it would be really great if this time we could get a concrete response. I mean, he really needs to speak out about this. This is the elephant in the room in New York State, in terms of both our climate policy and our energy policy. This is our current energy policy, and this is our current climate policy. Is this what the governor wants to stand behind?
The governor believes in climate change, yes? Yes?
Yes.
Well, at this
Of course.
point, there's many people who say they believe in climate change, but they're pushing through gas infrastructure, compressor stations, pipelines, power plants. So if you believe in climate change, you can't push through a pipeline, through a stream in my backyard. There's no way to have gas and believe in climate change. Fossil fuels.
We deserve better, and there's an alternative out there, and that deserves to get used, especially in Orange County.
Absolutely.
The wind and solar should be full steam ahead.
And on top of the fact that all of the analysis right now is that we don't even need the power for this power plant at this moment. We don't need the power for it. We're actually decreasing our consumption of electrical power. And so we don't need this plant. We have alternatives, and the governor needs to be a real climate leader and shut this down right away. So I hope that we'll, at the very least, because we traveled very far away, as you can see with little kids, who are sleeping. It's a 3-hour drive up, a 3-hour drive back. And I'm hoping, number one, that the governor comes to see what that plant actually entails and the size of it and the magnitude and the area that it's in, because it's in a pristine part of Orange County. It's our food shed. It sits right on the edge of the black dirt region, which is the official soil of New York State. All of that soil and those farms are going to be contaminated by terrible toxic pollutants. So it's very important that he come and visit. We welcome him to come and visit. We would happily show him the community. We would happily show him the area. We would happily show him all of the resources and all of the impacts that we're actually already seeing as a result of this build out. And then we urge him to respond to the situation and the crisis.
Can I ask, do you get to speak to him face to face?
No, but I know people who do, so
You know
I
people
will make
do.
sure this gets into the radio.
Because that's the scary part for us is we keep trying and trying and trying. And for all I know, that's going to wind up in a trash can in your back room. That represents 6 months of work going to businesses in my county, explaining the power plant to people, but anybody who understands the topic wants to save our valley. It's the Hudson Valley, the Black Dirt region, the richest farming in the state. You've got to come see it. It's
The other thing about that, just as you bring up the farming in the state, I continue to hear our governor selling New York, selling the Hudson Valley as a wonderful destination place. From the wine country up in Seneca Lake area, which is that ecosystem, is delicate. So if you were going to sell that region as the Napa of the East at the same time as pushing through fossil fuel infrastructure, again, we're looking at major contradictions. I work with Earth Guardians, which is an organization that supports youth leadership. We have many young people from probably around 8 years old to their early 20s who are working right now to figure out how to come through the rhetoric and the talk that comes from the governor's office about greening our communities so that they can take legal action. Because it's getting to that point. I don't know if you know about the climate kids who are suing the federal government right now for jeopardizing their future. The federal, right now, Donald Trump is being sued on climate change by 21 kids under the age of 23. Okay? In New York, we have kids stepping up. We're not asking them, they are asking us to help them figure out how to get through the talk of our governor, because they see that no matter how much he says he's working towards sustainability, they know that they're not trying to sustain the life we're living, they're not trying to sustain these, they're looking for regeneration. Our kids want the opportunity to have children and raise them. So I've been here under so many different issues, all regarding fossil fuel infrastructure, and we don't hear back from our governor. But he will go on Facebook and he will talk up plenty of storms, and they're all empty. If this is about New York for New Yorkers, if we are all one New York, he's got to stand up and actually stand behind his word. Because I don't want to hear any more Taste New York, because New York is going to taste like oil from the tar sands and from the shale fields down in Pennsylvania. This has to stop. We're done with the lip service.
You can't drill yourself out of a problem you drilled yourself into. And they keep putting in wells. Pennsylvania today is getting a new well somewhere, and somebody's living down the road and seeing the drill pad go in and seeing the flaring and seeing all that happen in Pennsylvania an hour from here, 2 hours from here. That's happening as we're standing here saying we want the governor to help us.
If I could add something too, I'm an engineer, electrical engineer, so I know something about this subject that we're talking about. I've looked at the clean energy standard that the governor has put forward, and I'm glad he's put forward the clean energy standard. I think it has the potential to get us to the goal of 50% renewables. But what doesn't add up to me is when I see that program next to the approval of brand new facilities that, if they're built, will be here for 30 years or more. The CPV power plant, 650 megawatts. What I don't understand from a mathematical standpoint, from a scientific standpoint, is how that gels, how that correlates with the goal of reducing greenhouse gas emissions and moving us toward renewables. Because if we have a 50-50 split of renewables and non-renewables, if we are proving more things on the wrong side of that equation, then we're not going to meet our renewable energy goal. So, so my concern is how are we actually going to achieve that goal if projects like this one are approved?
Emily,
Do you have a business card I could,
Not on me. There's one in the office.
you'll grab one for me?
I can, yes.
And then we'll keep a contact and we'll figure out how to get the governor to speak up.
Okay.
Oh,
Can you guys sit tight for a moment?
can
or-
we give this
Yes.
to you for the governor's office? Sorry. And also, Emily, what's your last name?
Lash.
Lash.
You're okay. Sit tight.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well done, guys.
You think we're going to get an answer this time? What do people think?
Well, they said to girls, they said guys.
So maybe this time is going to be different,
It
right?
was a shit.
She could be our magic bullet.
She'll hammer 'em.
So Governor Cuomo, we're waiting for you to step up and become a true climate leader and clean up corruption, both of which you promised us. And you could. The only way possible to have that title, to earn that title, is to shut CPV down and to rescind all approvals for Cricket Valley as well. We cannot be building new fracked gas power plants in 2017. That's irrational, that's inconsistent with the science, and that is climate denial. That is actually climate denial. When you build fracked gas power plants, you are in denial of the climate impacts that these plants are going to have. Orange County, the rhetoric needs to match the reality, and right now that's not happening. So we really need you to step up now and make your policies match your wonderful speeches.
Shut it down.
Shut it down.
We've never been able to meet you, Governor Cuomo. We're hoping we can meet you. Sean Patrick Maloney has told us over and over again that he thinks this is a bridge fuel. So he's the closest thing to a governor that we've met, and he keeps telling us that it's a bridge fuel and good for jobs. And Governor, you can do better than that. Teach Sean Patrick what renewable energy looks like.
Listen to the scientists also, Governor. This is not a bridge fuel. This is the worst possible source of energy that anyone can develop, and it is absolutely not a bridge fuel. And the scientists are available and accessible to you to explain why the impacts are so great. And we also invite you to come to Orange County. Come and look at the product of your approvals.
We pick it every Saturday from 11.
So I'm very good at being persistent. I'm very good at getting people to talk to me.
Thank you. You have been the best part of today.
I'm
Thank
a
you.
policy person, so it's not going to be me actually, engaging, but I'm persistent.
Okay,
So
Emma.
you have that.
Deputy Press Secretary. Whoa, big time. You're up the ladder. Maybe you can be governor.
I'm very impressed with this whole entire thing. Usually people come and they give us the petition, they don't really talk. I learned so much today, and I appreciate you guys coming
Thank
out.
you.
I appreciate the time.
If you ever want to, I'll reach out, but if you ever want to see the power plant, you'll have a better, once you see the power plant, you'll understand how big it is and how scary this really is.
And remind me of your full name?
Tom Denny.
Denny, nice to meet you.
Yep. I've got a Facebook page. You can find all sorts of live feeds and whatnot.
Yeah, you
Yep.
just send it to her.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Perfect.
Thanks, Emma.
All right, thanks again, guys.
Yeah.
It's great to meet you all.